Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the second competition week of the year. I'm back from the Doha and Baku World Cups, and this time around you're watching the Baku World Cup build-up competition and of course training after the competition took place. So we had quite a good length of time before we competed in Baku. We arrived on a Sunday, had Monday and Tuesday to train in the back gym. Podium training was Wednesday, and Thursday was the first day of competition. And I mentioned in the past that the nice thing about Baku is that for some reason they switch around the P-bar and high bar competition, meaning where usually you do floor pommel rings day one and vault P-bar high bar day two. It ended up being floor P-bar rings day one and vault pommel high bar day two, which made things a little bit easier for me because I got to split up my two Apparatus on 2 different days, giving me some downtime in between. Of course, compared to Doha, where I had maybe downtime in the negative sense, where I had to wait 1.5 hours between competing P-bar and high bar. So all in all, post World Cup tour, I hit 3 out of 4 routines without any large mistakes such as falls. So 75% hit rate sounds pretty good on paper, and I can't be too disappointed. But however, I did not do my full program on P-bar that I was going to send. I had to omit the giant Dyamitov both competitions, unfortunately. Second time around in Baku, it was pretty much the same deal, but the grip was probably much worse. Now you'll see what happened in the competition here, so I'm not going to ruin it yet. We'll wait till it all starts. But as you can see, on the Monday I did plenty of reps, and I'm sure this day on the Tuesday I did plenty of reps of that giant Dyamitov because I was really adamant that no matter what, good grip, bad grip, I'm sending the giant Dyamitov. I need to do my full routine. And even the planned routine wasn't the full routine because it's without the Makuts. Some side stories in Baku. We met with a lot of athletes, and one thing I noticed was the guys that made finals consistently and ended up on the podium consistently were the guys that competed all the time. The guys that pretty much do the entire 4 Challenge World Cup circuit: Cottbus, Baku, Doha, and Egypt. You'll see that there's a few guys that do 3, if not all 4 of those World Cups, and also attend some of the World Cups later in the year. Then of course they do World Championships and other internationals such as European Championships. So it obviously makes sense that the guys that do the most internationals, they ended up doing the best, because for them competing is quite normalized. They don't get such a massive adrenaline shot, you could imagine. So that was good to see. It was also good to see that a lot of the guys that did make finals and even podium at one World Cup were left out of finals in the second World Cup, because it shows you that everybody's just human. And very few athletes consistent doing a high difficulty across all the competitions, across all the World Cups. But yeah, there are some monsters out there. I looked quite closely at Carlos Yulo's training. The guy does 2 sessions a day, every day. He springs from one apparatus to the other multiple times. So he'll do a little basic set on P-bar with a stuck double front half. He'll go do his ring strength sequence on rings, go do some floor, some triple twists down the side, come back to P-bar, do a first half, second half, and then make his way to the other apparatus. and he'll do that twice a day. So I'm sure he has his light days, but the amount of sequence work and repetitions is definitely impressive. It was really interesting to see some of the pommel horse workers especially, but any gymnast, and I think I mentioned this in the past video, that any gymnast that made a mistake in the finals would surely, or even in the qualifications, would come back to the back gym and drill away at not only their mistakes but also their sequences. But I don't know if I mentioned there was a gymnast from Chinese Taipei, not the guy that you're seeing here about to take a turn on P-bars, another athlete who came right back into the back gym after the pommel horse final and saluted an entire routine to his coach in the back gym. If I did mention it already, forgive me, but that one hit me quite hard because it made a lot of sense. That, you know, for gymnasts that don't get such a big exposure to competition, when you come back to the apparatus and do a whole routine while you still have that competition jitters running through you, it's another opportunity to get some work done with that feeling that you can't mimic during training. You really can't mimic that level of energy during training. Like you see that Honma, for instance, I can get that Honma on quite well in a competition, but in trainings I just don't quite have the juice to put it on my to put it on lock arms, even with all of the other athletes around you watching. That's another kind of cool thing. P-bar is always intense. It's quite intense because in the podium training, everybody takes longer to get through P-bar compared to the other apparatus, because of course everybody's doing the bar, everybody's preparing the bar to their liking. So it's not just that you're hopping up onto the apparatus, taking your 30 seconds or so turn and then getting off. You're taking 30 seconds to a minute to prep the bar, then you're taking another 30 seconds to a minute on the bar. And everybody around you is just waiting to take their turn. You're probably waiting 10-15 minutes sometimes just for one turn. So you can imagine it's more tense than the other apparatus in that podium training session. So I want to give a massive shout out to the people that accompanied Team New Zealand, or the people that made up the Team New Zealand MAG squad on this tour. We had Gareth Brettle, our judge, who was there with us in most trainings, always ready to answer our questions. I was talking to Gareth a lot about angles on Quast, questions of such a nature. Cameron Beaton, the second judge, David Colvin, the coach, and of course Sam Dick, the second and other MAG athlete to be on this World Cup tour. So let's see how we went, fam. Probably a 0.1 armband there on the Honma. Now here's where things started to go south. Didn't quite get enough to the left on that peach. Had the guts to repeat and got it up with a pretty good use of strength. But because I did the 2 peach to 1 bars, I was quite further along the bar, so I had to do that reverse turn. And that gave me kind of a oh crap moment. And once again, I left out the giant Diamondov. And once again, the stutz was short and the legs came apart, and I had to rely on the front prize afterwards. And we finished things off here with a nice Healy, but quite a short dismount, so that would have got slammed. No prep for landing, chest down on landing, and 0.3 hop. They probably could have taken up to a 0.9 just on the dismount alone. So it's a similar story with P-bar and high bar. Really easy to get smashed on the dismount, so gotta put in some more work there to learn to land with my chest up. Saved myself a lot of tense. Now let's see how high bar went. Not even close, fam. Not even close. Barely got a finger on the bar. Now I gotta say, while you're watching the rest of the routine, the casino in my one touch was a smidge far. I was second up on high bar, and what I failed to do was digest my one touch. When I went up to salute, I didn't hold in my head the memory that my one touch tap was a bit late and to go a bit sooner. So that was a failure on my part. The plus part was that I got that Zoldy min in, and the rest of the routine was as clean as I could have done it. I think it was clean as I've ever done it, minus a bit of that pike down. But let's check these knees out right here. Look at these knees, fam. Look at these knees. Boom. Not even a smidge of bent knees there. Absolutely straight. So the pike down was less compared to Doha, but I still had a massive hop on the landing, or chest down deduction. So lots of work to do. And I did get a lot of compliments from judges afterwards that I had one of the cleanest executions, despite the fall, of course, on high bar. So that was really good feedback to hear from the high bar judging panel. Not something you get every day. So yeah, so pretty under par World Cup in Baku, but nevertheless just had so much fun training afterwards. Pommel horse was great because I was literally falling left and right. I didn't include all the turns here, but I was falling on checks and travel downs in front of some of the World Cup pommel medalists, which made for a pretty fun pommel horse session. Of course, in my head, I knew that Oceania is 7 weeks away. After this week, now I think it's 5 full weeks of training before I'm gonna have to do an all-around game at Oceania. Another shout out to Coach David here for suggesting for me to try some flares on the floor. Pretty damaging, pretty intense on the wrists, but I got further than I thought I'd get, especially after so long of not doing flares. So we had 2 days of training after, because we weren't in any finals. So I did 3 apps on day 1, 3 apps on day 2. And gotta say, I destroyed some P-bars in my training. I did a peach half for the first time in, man, I don't even remember the last time I did peach half on P-bars. Which is coming right up. Here we are, the last day of training. Now you'll see the screen, the TV screen over there by the wall bars. There was also another TV screen on the other side of the gym, and it was especially more so on the other side. It was playing the World Cups. So you could take a turn, you could watch the guys competing through the TV, and then you could take another turn. I've been to so many of these events that it's not I enjoy actually training in the back gym with the other athletes more than watching the competition, because it's you know, it's the same guys, it's the same routines, and you can kind of check on the results afterwards to see who made it through, who made a mistake, and it's just so much of a benefit to just ride that energy wave that's present there in the back gyms after these competitions. I think anybody can relate to the incentive you get after you do even a domestic competition. You always come back a bit giddy, a little bit inspired, even if you make a mistake. You want to more often than not get back in the gym and make upgrades and clean up what you already have. So you can tell I was on fire. I was going for 2 first halves overhead, trying to add the peach half as a 4th skill and still go for the giant D-arm. Let's see how we went on this one. Now it is only a 0.1 upgrade, and I'll lose that 0.1 on the elbows alone, so unless you're shooting up high, it's quite a, if you see my elbow is a little bit over there. And it's quite a tricky thing to get directly to handstand consistently, whereas the peach handstand is like a 90% shot of hitting a handstand directly. So in the future it could be something to add for a final, but in my main routine, I think right now I have to be putting all my efforts into understanding more about the giant Diamondov and about the Makuts, because that already will take me to that 16.2 mark. And I do remember I got through a clean 16.2 at Oceania's last year, scored a 14.8. So it is something I know I'm capable of, and I want to first make that like less overwhelming and more consistent. And you'll notice that the scores weren't actually too high. A 14 made P-bar final in Doha. I think it was a bit higher than that in Baku. But at the same time, everybody is put in the same boat where, you know, obviously the adrenaline and the energy is high, but it's not so easy to get through your routines at such an event. Guys even that have consistent routines, you'll see them mucking up. There's something about these World Cups that even the most prepared athletes can make mistakes. It's almost like a bit of Russian roulette, for lack of a better analogy. Now after that massive P-bar sesh, I didn't quite have the juice to send Maris's. And of course I'd love to just send Kovacs connections and Maris's now that I'm back, but with Oceania 6 or 5 weeks away, I gotta get myself ready to hit some all-around and of course be there for the team. It's always a battle between New Zealand and Australia for the team spot at World Championships, so can't let myself just play around just yet. Gonna have to do another big push, and let me tell you fam, it was a very hard week this week coming back to all around in the home gym. The energy's high over here, so on some aspect is easy and there's no work, so I had a lot more energy. So if anybody wants to give me some advice on sponsorship so that I can just get paid to do gymnastics, please drop it down in the comments below, because I was loving just having nothing to do except training. So there you have it. There's the World Cup tour over. We're looking ahead now to Oceania and World Championships beyond. Thanks for sticking with us. Till next time.